Cool. I think we're live. Hello and welcome everybody who's been kindly waiting for us. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. Slight mix-up with timings, as some of you may have noticed, but I'm sure most of you didn't. I've actually been off for a week, so in that vein, there was just a slight mix-up. But for anybody who's not able to join now, you guys know that you can always watch it later. The full episode will be on YouTube, and hopefully any questions that you guys who aren't able to make it have, we will touch upon anyway. AJ, how are you doing, mate?
Good. How you doing? You were on vacation recently. How was that?
Yeah. It was nice, nice and relaxing, mate. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm probably feeling a little bit more healthy and restored than you by the sounds of things.
Yes, I just got home and took the red eye last night from Silicon Valley, so I'm a little like feeling like a zombie, but nothing that a coffee and like a Celsius drink can cure.
Yeah, and hopefully that was the limit to your remedies. But no, but we'll come back and touch on that more in a second. But I think probably a couple nuggets of alpha to throw in regarding maybe where you've been in the last 24 to 48
I'll sprinkle
hours.
some alpha in here.
I know there's been many a person in the community has been speculating at some of the kind of, well, I was gonna say vague hints, but to be honest, not so vague hints that have been thrown out over the last few days, courtesy of some of our most beloved, ARC related accounts is probably a good way to put it. Let's just, I'm just gonna put a couple of notices on and just try and get some more people to stream in, but we will launch in 1 second. And for all of those that are feeling delighted that George is not on here, I regret to inform you guys he will be joining shortly. For the very few of you that pleases, I'm sure you'll be delighted to hear it. Right, 1 second.
If I don't do this, my broadcast will end abruptly, and then you'll all lose me forever, and you'll all be very sad.
PTSD.
Bear with me.
All good. Cool. Well, let's dive into some of it, AJ. I know actually as things go, it's been a very transparent week from us, and these last couple of weeks there's been lots of things firing out, white paper, information around our closed testing round, and I think most recently the tokenomics, which is certainly an exciting development. And I think probably later in the episode with some of the questions we'll touch on that and just address any grey areas that anyone may have. But to kick things off, AJ, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been up to the last couple of days? Anything that you feel personally able to disclose. I'm sure lots of people would be delighted to hear about that. Some exciting developments.
Well, outside of working with the rest of the team on the tokenomics to ensure that we provided enough visibility and explanation as to the next chapter of the development arc and some of the new exciting value propositions that we're bringing to the community and the team, as well as any future potential investors, which I'll dive into in a little bit. that's a lot of fun. This is the first white paper that I had worked on personally, so it's really nice to kind of get in there and see how the sausage is made and apply all the things that we've been working on internally, and being able to translate them to a degree that is hopefully transparent and open and easy to understand for the community. So that's been fun and enjoyable. TG and I were in fact in California this week, meeting with a number of interested individuals in the VC space, specifically blockchain and Web3. We garnered a lot of interest from the event that we attended. We're talking highly concentrated amount of VCs, entrepreneurs, family fund office owners, and I would say incubators that focus predominantly on blockchain, crypto, and Web3 companies. So there were a number of different founders there who have had varying degrees of success, some very cool projects, identified a couple of very interesting projects with whom we believe there are some really great synergies to even bring some more value to the community, make things easier, ease of use, basically bring on institutional clients based off of some of the other value propositions that we saw from different companies. So it was a very fruitful event in terms of potential partnerships, gaining interest in people who want to invest, as well as speaking with other founders to basically see what their track record was, some of their strategies, and being able to kind of discuss how these different products and projects can begin to start working together in kind of a little bit of a harmony. So it was very cool. We're going to have a very busy week coming up, following up and making sure that everyone has the appropriate information to kind of make some decisions.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you guys had a very productive couple of days out there. Without further ado, George Fox is attempting to enter. So we will bring him in and hopefully be able to coax some alpha out of him too. George, are you able to dive in?
Is George with us? Oh, he's here.
George, welcome.
How
are we?
I'm good, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Kinda.
Is there a lot of background noise?
Yes, but we can hear you relatively well.
Let me try something. I'll try something different. 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm out at a meeting with someone at the moment, so I was planning for 4:30. So apologies for the confusion. Let me try. Is that clearer?
Yes, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. I think that is clearer for sure.
There's less background noise. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think is TJ diving in as well?
No,
looks like he might be.
TJ's still in California because the opportunities didn't stop, so he stuck around for an extra day. I had to fly back. I have a few things I needed to attend to today in my home, so I came back early. Red eye back last night. I'm in my Philadelphia office today, so I've got a busy schedule.
Mr. International. Well, I suppose that's actually not international, so I retract that statement before Crypto Walk or somebody calls me out on that. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I think one thing I'll just touch on as well before we launch into any more questions is the charity initiative that we're starting on behalf of ARC as well. I know that we've spoken about it kind of before at varying stages in the project as well, and many members of the community have already given generously, and many will be very excited to see the variety of causes that we promote in the coming months. Our first installment was related to children in need in Ukraine. So please give generously if you feel like you are able to. Absolutely no pressure either way. There is a link in our Twitter, but I will circulate that in socials again today. Otherwise, without further ado, I think we can launch in some questions. I think George is having some technical issues, so AJ, we will do our best to kind of handle this as well as we can. And where George can dive in, I'm sure if he needs to, we will. So I'll start on Discord and just go back to kind of to the beginning of today's questions. Okie doke. Okay. I can see from the white paper that the main goal of ARC was to become another decentralized exchange. But now it seems like the main product in tech is actually Reactor, in brackets, which is cool. Was Reactor the side effect when working on DEX, or did the company change its focus? I mean, that is I think the detailed answer to that question is a very long one. So potentially won't go into too much depth on that. But I think in essence, the best way to address it is to say that Arc and Depot's initial aim was to unite a lot of different elements of crypto and to become crypto's command console. And Reactor is very much in keeping with our mission and our aim, as TJ would absolutely say. And we believe it's the most exciting offering in terms of the USP that it brings and how unique it is out there in the market. So we're really excited to be working on that, going through testing, all of the iterations and updates that Henry's been pushing over the last months, and it's not mutually exclusive as well, with much of the DeFi ecosystem that we were originally planning. It looks like not TJ may have joined.
Hey guys, I'm on the plane right now, so the connection's shoddy.
How are you doing, TJ?
Hey, it looks like sounds like he's getting the in-flight announcement. That's why he's muted himself.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll come back to TJ in a sec.
Jasper, just to kind of extrapolate on that explanation, the reactor itself is, I would say, it is probably the most efficient energy source to fuel everything that ARC has done to date. It is essentially kind of the underlying backbone, which is basically going to propel the current solution offerings, which you're all familiar with, to make them more efficient, faster, more profitable. And then, of course, the reactor itself is a whole nother element which addresses a side of the market that a lot of individuals, companies, teams, investors have never quite been able to utilize before. So like when we say that the value propositions are growing, it means that we are essentially expanding the scope and the breadth of the areas that we can essentially address in meaningful ways. So it's not a tangent in terms of the business. It is really a whole nother ecosystem of solution offerings that all tie into the DeFi ecosystem that you all know and familiar with within ARC. So the marriage between those two is what we find very exciting, because it now brings in people who have many different interests in blockchain, crypto, and Web3, and provides a solution ecosystem that can address all of those things. So if you're interested in crypto or DeFi or swaps, or if you want to trade, or if you want to develop, all of those things can work hand in hand in a rather seamless environment that we are creating. And this is kind of why we've published all those documents. The tokenomics throughout the white paper is out. I think there was an article that went out on how we're basically improving our business model to address those different areas and bring in as much value to the community, as well as drive our ability to execute for future initiatives.
Yeah, very well said. Following on from that, T-Lab is asking, what can we look forward to next? And essentially asking on what changes and upgrades can the community expect with 2.0, currently scheduled for Q2, but none of us will be shocked if released sooner once Reactor gets rolling. I mean, I think we'll have to be relatively coy on that, because actually there'd be no final decisions made around the spec, although it has been spoken about. I think the main thing that you guys can expect, though, is that we're much more likely to tend towards a proprietary DEX of some variety rather than our aggregated router, which is how our swaps is currently set up. So it will be a lot more meaty and a lot more exciting. But I certainly don't want to.
It'll bring more people in. You know, the solutions we created, it just basically will have the ability to bring more people in and give visibility to what we're doing, to drive further interest, because we are addressing larger areas of the market. So if you're here at ARC right now and you've been interested in the DeFi ecosystem, imagine like a whole nother element, a whole nother population of people joining the community by virtue of a solution that they are very interested in using, that quite frankly the competitors in the market don't necessarily address in the way that we do. And I think a lot of people recognize that. So I believe that we'll probably see a significant migration from current solutions, or people who may not be happy with what's existing, migrating over to Arc and the reactor and the ecosystem, the DeFi ecosystem, to basically understand how they can execute a number of different interests in one location. So Arc is basically the one solution fit all for a variety of different people's interests.
Yeah, and I think kind of critically addressing TLAB, your remark about kind of changes and upgrades. I think one of the very crucial transitions that the new swaps will have is that currently with our aggregated router or router, as AJ or TJ would say, the way that currently works as well is that all of the traffic and revenue that's actually generated through it is routed to the project that we pull the APIs from. So the new swaps, will very much not be, that will very much not be the case. And that golden, revenue word, which I know a lot of people throw around and is obviously absolutely critical, that will then be something that will be contributing to the tokenomics and the rest of the project, the treasury. So but we'll touch more on the exact mechanics with some more questions about that. The next question is touching on how the investment round is going. Any contracts signed, close to being signed? What do the investors get? Tokens, equity, etc. I'll hand that one over to AJ because that is very much your remit, sir.
So part of that whole initiative, there's a lot of legal contracts that go into those things, part of which are NDAs, which we are unfortunately not permitted to share because we have signed them. So if you're not familiar with NDAs, it's a non-disclosure agreement, which means that we are not permitted to discuss those things since they are ongoing and active. When the round closes, then we can make those types of announcements. Then that information becomes public, but we legally are not allowed to discuss those things since they are ongoing. And since this is a public forum as an AMA, if I were to say anything, this could be quite damaging. So unfortunately, I have to leave it at that. NDAs are signed. So we are not actually permitted to discuss it right now. It doesn't mean we are not able to in the future, just we can't at the moment. And that's unfortunately the answer I have to give you.
Yeah, that's very understandable as well. I'm sure that everybody will appreciate that. Cool. Okay. Doomsday asks, you guys posted a while ago about Arc integration with Avalanche. Now I'm reading that Amazon Web Services is partnering with Avalanche. Is there any chance of Arc benefiting from AWS and Ava Labs partnership? I'll take that. Yes, in theory, yes. We are not in direct comms with AWS as of right now, but I mean, we have had discussions with, some of the big Web 2 backend sort of cloud services, if that is a good description. With regards to Ava Labs specifically, though, I know this is something that I've touched on a little bit in some of the previous AMAs, and that a big part of what I've been doing is kind of the relationships with some of these bigger ecosystems, their funds, their labs, their builders networks, which is obviously going to be crucial for us kind of on a number of fronts. I have spoken directly to Ava Labs a couple of times. And that was part of the reason why we worked in our integration. And as you saw, they retweeted and promoted us a bit and are helping us on a couple of fronts. No, there is currently no direct comms relating to AWS, but that is absolutely not to say that can't change in the near future. We'll dive on to the next one. Can you share some alpha of your attendance at the invite-only blockchain and Web3 tech-based conference that was held in a secret location not far from San Francisco? We did touch on that earlier, but AJ, maybe for some of the people that weren't watching and now are, do you want to dive into that?
Yeah, what I can say, it was an invite-only event. It was predominantly focused on people who are building in Web3, blockchain, crypto. So it was a room full of venture capitalists, entrepreneurs, family office advisors. So target-rich environment. And TG and I left there with a number of potential partnerships that can come out of this that provide value to the community at Arc, which can actually grow our customer base. And we garnered a lot of interest. TJ and I have a busy week coming up to kind of do a lot of follow-up. So that's what I can share. We busted our asses TJ was excellent. People were hanging on his every word with what we're building with the reactor and some of the things that it can do. So, I mean, when I say that people were hanging on his every word, TJ was in the middle of a circle of like 10 people just asking questions, mouths agape, just basically in awe of some of the solutions that we're providing. And I know we've been kind of coy about what the reactor can do, and we've publicly acknowledged some of the things that it can do. But the solutions that we haven't quite shared yet, because they're kind of in early stages of the discussion, we're working on some very cutting edge technology, and the applications of which are far extend outside of crypto. So there is a lot of interest in industries from individuals who want to utilize the technology for some very interesting purposes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
The boarding doors are
Hey.
closed. Please put away laptops, computers, and
Oops.
any large
How are we doing,
electronic
TJ?
devices. Also, please be reminded that
I think I just heard the
Fasten your seatbelts.
the flight crew just basically say you got to turn off your laptop, cell phone. So we'll probably lose TJ in the next couple minutes as he's taking off.
Yeah, very much sounds like it. I'm glad that both TJ and George have been illuminating so much on this particular episode.
All right, love you guys. Gotta go. Bye.
Yeah. See you, TJ. Safe flight.
Cool. Okay, we'll dive into the next question. I'm not a programmer, as the question indicates. Does the reactor have practical use cases outside the world of crypto?
In short,
Yes.
big time.
Yes, yeah, very much so. I mean, I suppose from outside the world of crypto rather than necessarily, in isolated context outside the world of crypto. But that doesn't mean that also won't change.
Yeah. So imagine, like, obviously it's built on blockchain technology. So of course, like, there are many different people who are interested in utilizing the technology based off of what's been built to kind of enter into the blockchain security space. So yeah, the applications are very, very broad.
Yeah, I think we will be touching more on that in some Arc Academy posts and probably some more releases coming in the near future. So maybe we won't dive too deep into that. But
yeah, I think we should probably share those things later when they've kind of been appropriately formalized.
Exactly.
We don't want to deliver half-baked solutions or half-baked thoughts. The team is working very diligently on nailing those things to the ground, so that way we can articulate them to the community in very succinct and matter-of-fact way.
Absolutely, and we do not want to create more questions than we answer. Next question. The dashboard is coming in 2024. What information will it have on it? I think very short answer to that is that the spec has nowhere near been finalized for that. So without, in the wish of not giving you guys any misleading information or promising anything that won't be delivered, probably best just to say that we're not going to give any information on that at the moment. Okay, the overview diagram shows an arrow with up to 50% revenue. What does this exactly mean? As in previous documents, a 50% revenue share was indicated. Does up to mean that these numbers have changed and will need to be determined? AJ?
Basically, it means depending on what we're able to achieve, the upper echelon is up to that amount. Obviously, there's a number of simulations we have to run to make sure that the economics work out appropriately in everyone's favor. We've identified the outermost limit, and of course, as things roll in and as the figures begin to kind of get hardened, things change. Just like with staking farms and whatnot, those numbers fluctuate depending on the macro environment as well as the micro environment. So we've identified the boundaries, but that means that, of course, with more information, more data points, then we will be able to determine a succinct percentage. So don't hold us to the 50% number. What we're saying is that there's the potential to go up to that amount. Right.
Yeah, and I think importantly, because I know that may alarm people, but it's also touching on the fact that there'll be some critical costs, and part of the process that it's probably more accurate to say that number will be closer to the profit margins than revenue margins, because obviously we'd be very foolish if we were dishing around certain amounts of money before a number of other things have been taken care of or addressed.
Right, and it's obviously to protect everybody, right? The number of simulations need to be run to make sure that it's economically viable, if from a larger scale, and of course, we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We want to make sure that everything is done appropriately and in the safest manner possible for everybody.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Okay, can you share more feedback on Arc Reactor from first users? Regarding that, after this closed test, we will definitely be pushing out more information around that. There is the quote from Obsidian Council, our first official subscribers to Reactor as well. That's already out and published, but yes, we will shortly be sharing feedback and probably quantifying that in a much more interesting manner for you guys too, after our closed round, which, as you guys know, is approaching fast.
To put it simply, I'm going to use all of your favorite explanation that Jasper uses soon.
That is, look, I'm not the soon guy. I am definitely not the soon guy.
Okay.
No.
And I'm still brand new, so I don't know where it originated from. I just understand that is just a joke amongst the community.
No. I'm not the soon guy. I've always, put it how it is. Okay. Next question. Have you started the market research for DApp? Can the community contribute ideas or projects to look into? Yes, absolutely. You guys are always more than welcome to contribute any ideas. I know that some of the whales in our community do this very regularly. But yeah, your feedback, criticism, input is very important to us. So yes, absolutely. Please contribute any ideas you may have. And yes, we have started market research. Arc Rules is asking, when is Sam leaving? Sadly, no date in the diary for that one right now. But I'm sure George would have something to say about that if he's still on. Okay, I'll just skip a couple of those. What is the team most looking forward to in 2023? AJ, do you want to start with that?
So one of the things that I've quickly identified since being here is it's going to sound bad, but it's really good. But what we suffer from is an abundance of opportunity. So what is it that I'm most looking forward to? It's really hard to say because there is literally a buffet of opportunity in front of us. And what am I looking forward to is, what am I going to stack my plate with first, right? What is Arc going to stack its plate with first? So what am I looking forward to? It's really hard to say, to be perfectly honest. And that's a very vague and broad answer, unfortunately, but that's the best I can give you.
AJ, when are you next taking a break from work?
When am I taking a break from work?
Yeah.
Dude, I never sleep. I don't have. There's no breaks. I have no scheduled time off.
Well, guys, I have nothing to look forward to in 2023. I'm afraid. Seems like that one's gone over AJ's head a little bit, but anyway, I jest. On my side, lots to look forward to. I mean, I think that most immediately the testing round is going to be great in terms of we have had people kind of in and out, but in terms of bringing on board a group of people to Reactor, and like really getting into the weeds with like how they're finding it on the day to day. Taking all of that feedback out, obviously it will give us a very different angle to the one that we and Henry have had for the last like 6 to 9 months. So I'm personally very excited about that. Also, a lot of projects who have been interested for a while. It'll be cool to see them kind of dive in and have a look. But yeah, as AJ said, really a lot to look forward to. Sadly, apart from the fact that Babs, I'm glad you got it. Clearly, my dry humor is lost on most people. Okay. Okay, next question. There's another question about investment and assuming that there's a business plan and a forecast around revenue, and can we share that? But I'm assuming that, I mean, I've seen it, but I the answer is, again, I'm afraid not. Let's further assume that all ARC tokens that are staked now will also be staked in Farm 2.0. How much could be expected as revenue share per month? So 100K ARC staked starting in 2024. Again, unless AJ wants to share.
That really depends on the liquidity pool, right? So I think we articulated that in the tokenomics. What can be shared is a percentage of what is contributed. So, and there's an example in the tokenomics as well as to how that works. So if you're looking for like a figure of what it is that you can specifically earn, it really depends upon your contribution towards the larger liquidity pool. And that's all based off of a number of different streams that inject into the liquidity pool as well. So the higher the utilization, higher liquidity pool, the more you stake, the better and more rewards you can achieve.
Absolutely. On that note, the question, are the software as a service fees for the reactor in scope of the revenue distributed by Stark? I understood this was the case, but I have been reading that only revenues from user templates are on this topic. What are user templates and how do they generate revenue?
So imagine, I'm not sure if I'll give a really simple example. So if you are familiar with companies like Canva, right? It's an online design service. It's a $40 billion company. You can access it for free. And then within that ecosystem, within that platform, there are paid templates that you can use, which are obviously come with a subscription. They're more detailed, they're more in depth, they offer a lot more flexibility. So in terms of like the templates that are available, obviously there are things that are going to be available for free. And in terms of what is created by people using the reactor, in terms of templates, ways to build, ways to ingest, ways to develop products and services, those are all user generated. And what we're providing with the marketplace, for example, is the ability to allow those individuals who have created things that are very unique and bespoke or very comprehensive to be able to provide them to the community for utilization.
Absolutely. AJ, have a quick look into the main channel
in Discord.
No, Slack. I think there's something that TJ wants you to mention. And on that note, I will just dive onto the next question. While you have a quick read of that, Urban Jungler asks, when can I retire? That is a very good question. That is a very good question. Sadly,
So TJ wants me to touch on the fact that we've been invited to participate in the Web3 equivalent of Y Combinator's massive competition. The biggest difference is this outlet has chapters all over the world utilizing builders, VCs, founders in multiple locations globally to be able to tap into that network to start driving more value proposition, not only for ourselves, but for the community at large.
Absolutely. Fantastic opportunity. Sam's next question we have already touched on, so we'll just go over briefly, but he says, some people believe ARK are focusing on Reactor and have pivoted away from DeFi related products. Do you mind reiterating how important Reactor can be to actually making more DeFi products and how they can be entwined and not an entirely separate entity? We have...
Yeah, I'll say that's the purpose of the Reactor, to basically build DeFi products. That's a major component of what it does, is to continue to build DeFi products, things that we can also incorporate, things that we can leverage and use and provide to the community. The Reactor is also going to make and drive big improvements to the solutions that we already provide. Faster, cheaper, more comprehensive, more solutions for community members. The crypto command console, I think we already have like 300 plus different integrations. Just imagine what we have already. We're just injecting steroids into it. And then, of course, providing more solutions within the entire ecosystem. Obviously, there are many different folks that have different interests within DeFi. The aim is to build solutions that draw more people in to utilize ARK, right? So if you're in crypto or blockchain or Web3 and you want to trade crypto, or you want to do swaps, or you want to be a part of liquidity pools, or you want to do a number of different things, obviously those solutions are highly fragmented within the market. So you may use Uniswap to do one thing, you may use a building platform to use another, you may go and do swaps on MetaMask. The idea is to bring all of those things together within ARK, so that way you can come to ARK to be able to exercise a number of different opportunities within a single platform. We're making it very simple, very easy, very friction-free, really kind of reducing the need to utilize multiple platforms, thus enabling people to kind of keep a better track on what it is that they're doing and not have to monitor or even have to utilize multiple solutions to execute simple things.
Absolutely. Okie doke. Thomas is asking, how do you intend to build on the strong relationship with Phantom to bring projects to the reactor? Do you have any Phantom projects waiting to use reactor during beta testing? Yeah, again, I'll handle this. Yeah, Phantom, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know the guys from Phantom quite well over the last few months. As you guys saw, what started out as initially just like, you know, reaching out to them to see what was going on, kind of spawned into many calls, you know, us the whole kind of GMX debacle, as well as us jumping on the podcast, which was a really awesome experience. And I have to say, you know, that little clip that they stuck up on the foundation, which was certainly an interesting one. But no, it's absolutely a relationship which we intend to build on. They are really, really nice guys, guys and girls, and they have some very ambitious plans. As you guys have seen recently with Andre coming back on board as well, like the excitement is very much brewing. We are in that builders community. I'm not really going to go into too much more detail than that. But yes, I have personally spoken to a number of projects on Phantom. And yeah, it's a very exciting time to be there. So I will update you guys more when there's some more solid stuff to update on.
I'm going to ask a stupid question. Where are you reading all these questions? Apparently you made a joke that I didn't get either. What's going on here?
If you go into the AMA questions channel down in the Discord, no, the joke that I made was saying that you taking time off was what I was most looking forward to in 2023.
All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, guys. I took a red eye in last night. I got no sleep, so my brain is not operating on full capacity.
Yeah. Is anyone from the ARC team dating Joan of Arc? Well, I mean, George does have a wife, so out of respect, I would choose not to answer that question. What's your target subscription?
That's also a joke, team. I got that one.
Also a joke. Also a joke. What's your target subscription to the reactor by end of 2023? Ballpark figure is satisfactory. AJ?
Well, with the reactor, I'm trying to think about this diplomatically without kind of sharing too much private company information. The reactor addresses a number of different audiences. It addresses individuals who want to use it to kind of explore and basically create and invent new things. It's a tool to kind of ideate and conceptualize products and services that people may have. And the reactor itself is a very simple and easy to use tool to be in to prototype and test and simulate your product in a virtual environment. So individuals, teams, people who are starting companies that have an idea of a solution they want to address in the market. So people who are working together in smaller teams, somewhere between 2 to 7, 5, 10. And then, of course, large enterprises, companies who are looking to build comprehensive solutions to address bigger facets of the market. So we see our target audience as individuals, small teams, and large enterprises. So in terms of, say, total users at the end of the year, it's more than 1 and less than 10 million.
Okay, that's a fantastic ballpark.
There you go.
Decent says AJ looks ready for battle. I'm not sure you are you? I'm
in my digital Arctic camo today.
Been playing a bit too much Call of Duty.
That's right. Actually, I stole this from my brother. He went to Vanderbilt. I'm familiar. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Andrew Home. I forget his last name. He's a good friend of my brother's. They went to school together. Both went to Vanderbilt. So, I mean, I'm rocking the Vanderbilt gear today, even though I didn't go there.
Yeah, cleared that one. Cleared that one up for all of those people wondering. Crypto fuck. Says, can Jasper play us a song on his guitar? I didn't even realize that was in the back. It's actually a bass guitar, so probably wouldn't be too interesting for you to hear, if I'm honest. And very much, we can arrange a private viewing if you want one, mate. But I really, really, really don't think you'd want to hear it. And no, I'm afraid musical intros. I mean, maybe one week I will. Depends. When we hit $1, I certainly will. Thomas says, "Is George at the gym working out with crypto bitlords?" You may well be right.
Crypto bitlord maybe benching George right now.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. George, thanks for flexing. Otherwise, yeah, guys, please, if anyone's tuning in, add any more last questions. I actually cannot see any more than that. So I'm just going to check Telegram and just see if anyone dropped any on Twitter either. But that is everything that I've got thus far. Always nice to come on and to dive on and just clear anything up that anyone's wondering about and talk to you guys. And yeah, for anyone watching this later, hope you are having a very, very nice weekend. And we will, of course, be back in the very near future to do another one. Let's just no. TJ loves to drop alpha, but AJ loves to give big answers.
I'm gonna let the chief executive officer drop all the alpha. I'm gonna stick to my lane as typically a back of house individual. Being on AMAs is not necessarily something I ever thought I'd be doing. The fact that you can all see my face and hear my voice is something I never even thought would be a possibility for me. I'm filling in and being a good teammate.
Behind the scenes guy.
Behind the scenes guy. I'm the turbulent current under a very calm surface of the ocean.
A wordsmith as well. Is that a telescope behind you?
That is actually a light. It's like a theater lighting.
Ah.
Yeah, the office here is it's pretty cool.
What are you doing in there?
This is my Philadelphia office.
Lovely. Good to see the faces. Makes Arc more real. That's right. Sadly, we are very real. More real than you may like. AJD is Batman.
You know what's funny? Before I got into Web3, my last business that I was running was focused in the aviation space. I provided a technology which streamlines baggage operations for airlines and airports around the world. So I was traveling 75% of the time. I probably went to 50 countries. I was in 350 different airports running tests, trials with our technology. A lot of my friends thought I was in the CIA for a while because I was never home. And I was always in foreign countries. And depending on which countries I used to visit, I used to get held up at the airport almost every single time. I remember one time I was in Israel, and because I had been throughout the Middle East, they stopped me and I was held for like 3 hours, and I went through multiple body scans. They ransacked my suitcase 3 or 4 times. They did the entire swab type of thing. I had to stand in I had to strip down to my underwear and my t-shirt, and I had to go through like a full body scan just because of some of the countries I had visited previously doing some work. So that was fun. And also, at a certain point in my life, I had a massive aggressive beard, and I also had like a very, very healthy tan. So I certainly didn't look American or Mediterranean, which is my background. And yeah, I've been held up and molested in many different airports. And if you're familiar with airport codes, and if you've ever gotten that like SSSS on your boarding ticket, which means secondary security screening, I used to get those all the time. So I'd go to the desk, get my boarding pass printed out, and I'd get the quadruple S symbol on my ticket, and I'd be like, "All right, great. I know what my life's going to be like for the next 4 hours."
Yeah, you need to send around the photo of that. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Let me.
There must be one around somewhere.
Yeah, let me get my phone, and then I will. I'll show it on the screen really quick. Hang on.
Cool. I'll just do a final scan for some questions, guys. Otherwise, we will end with a lovely picture of AJ's beard, shall we say.
So I've made the determination that I will inevitably go bald one day, and when that happens, I'm bringing the beard back because I can't just be a cue ball. Yeah, I think I got
Not
something
yet.
on my like. Not yet, at least. I think I got some left.
Not yet. How many years do we reckon?
Oh my god! I hope I have it for at least another 5, or else I'm going to Turkey.
Would you go down the transplant route? I think that's something that's relative. Like it's easier now than it used to be, right? I mean, can't say I've looked into it too much, but
Here we go.
oh my god! Wow, that is a strong beard, man.
Yeah, man, I was not joking around.
Can only aspire to such thickness. Wow, you look a bit like a Salt Bay type there, you know, like.
I was doing
Fine,
this was 2015. I was Salt Bay before Salt Bay was a bay.
Salt Bay, who's not too popular.
He was just salt at the time.
I think the Bay came first, I have to say.
Very true.
Cool. All right. Well, look, guys, I cannot see any other questions on here. Oh, actually, one last thing. Babs is suggesting that you go bald, AJ, and I wholeheartedly agree.
You know, it's funny. My girlfriend was joking with me. She's like, "Let me just shave your head. Let's just shave your head and then just grow it out." And I was like, "I'm not ready. I'm not ready."
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
I'm not a young man anymore.
No, you're not. You are definitely not.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. I think we'll look to wrap it up there. So I'll let AJ sign off for himself in a sec. But lovely to be back. Lovely to answer all your questions. And yeah, we will continue relentlessly working to deliver as quickly as possible for you guys. To anyone tuning in later, I hope you have a great weekend. To everyone watching now, I hope you have a great Friday. And yeah, thank you very much for jumping in.
Before we sign off, I just love this image that Sam Malone posted of the flight attendant and George's shed where he's been banished.
Yeah, that is brilliant. Right, yeah, AJ, do you have any closing remarks?
My closing remarks are: I think 2023 is going to be an immensely exciting year for ARC. I am, obviously been banging my head against the wall here at ARC for the past few months. Obviously, I'm thoroughly impressed with not only the team, but also the technology and the solutions and just how many different problems that we can address in the market. I'm incredibly optimistic. You know, my background is more traditional technology and software-based companies, hardware-based companies. This is the very first time that I've worked for a company that's actually in like the cutting-edge technology space. It's a space I never thought I'd be a part of. So it's very exciting. It's a new realm of opportunity that is really exciting. So I'm just looking forward to a really prosperous 2023 with the team.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for diving in, AJ. Even if you are not feeling too rosy,
I'm feeling very rosy. I'm just like just going off like no sleep.
Not looking at it.
22-year-old me would be like, "Woo, let's go! It's Friday. Boom, let's go.
Let's do it."
34-year-old AJ is like, "I need a nap."
He's just thinking about going bald.
Exactly. That's where my mind is right now.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks, AJ. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, guys. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back very soon. Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
team. Enjoy. See ya.